Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors will need to make precise and accurate moves to go straight to the playoffs and try to win the championship. Two players who have good value in the league and who will certainly be traded in 2026 are Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga. Hield is a great scorer, but has been inconsistent with the Warriors, and Kuminga continues to have serious problems with coach Steve Kerr. The Warriors need solid, athletic players and good defenders to help the team's veteran stars. A great center and a 3D wing would be ideal signings. Kuminga and Buddy Hield are expected to be traded in 2026. If the Golden State Warriors want to improve during this trade season, Buddy Hield's contract could be their most important asset. Buddy Hield could end up being the most important Golden State Warriors player this trade season, as he could be the difference between them having a great deadline and having a brutal deadline. His salary could be the perfect trade chip for Golden State to throw around in potential deals this season. Since getting to Golden State, Hield has been a solid player, even coming up clutch for them at times in the playoffs, but his streakiness has continued to shine through. Because of that, if they wanted to find an upgrade, he could be one of the guys they look to throw in a deal, even if it's just as a salary filler. His name may pop up often in Warriors trade rumors. Why could Warriors trade Buddy Hield? Hield is still one of the best three-point shooters in recent NBA history. His numbers are a bit down this year, but since entering the league, he's been an incredible threat from long range. Unfortunately for Hield, he's only gotten playoff experience in recent seasons, as during his time with the Sacramento Kings and Indiana Pacers, he never got a taste of postseason basketball. On top of that, even in the regular season, Hield has been an extremely streaky shooter at times. His end-season average always comes out to a solid number, and he drains a ton of triples, but his bad games can get really, really rough. But the reason he could be a top Warriors trade option this season truly has nothing to do with his on-court contributions, outside of the fact that he's not an irreplaceable piece in Steve Kerr's rotation. The real reason why Hield could be a trade candidate is because of the amount of money he is making this season, as well as their limited options of players to trade. Barring a Jonathan Kuminga or Moses Moody deal going down, Hield makes the most money of any of the players whom the Warriors could realistically look to trade this year. He is making $9.2 million, which could be enough for the Warriors to throw around in a deal in an attempt to bring back an elevated rotation piece, particularly if they attach some draft capital to him. The only rough part about Hield's contract situation is that, after this season, he has 2 more years left on his deal, with a player option for the final season. That could turn some squads away, but if the Warriors can strike a deal with the right rebuilding or selling team, Hield's contract could be the key to their improvement this season. Warriors already made Kuminga decision. The Golden State Warriors are expected to shop forward Jonathan Kuminga once he becomes trade eligible on January 15, according to veteran NBA insider Mark Stein. Stein reported that multiple teams anticipate Golden State will explore Kuminga's value ahead of the February 5 trade deadline, despite teammates, particularly Jimmy Butler, publicly showing support for the 23-year-old. Anticipation grows in various corners of the league that Kuminga will be dealt before the February 5 deadline, Stein wrote in the Stein line, adding that league observers view the move as inevitable. Warriors re-signed Kuminga to a tradable contract. Kuminga spent most of the summer locked in a tense restricted free agency battle before agreeing to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract in October. The deal includes a team option, a detail Golden State reportedly insisted on to maintain flexibility. The Warriors' hardball stance all summer was adopted with the intention to ensure that the 23-year-old was re-signed to a tradable contract, Stein reported. Multiple executives now view Kuminga as one of the league's most attractive mid-tier assets. It's one of the best trade chips in the league, one veteran front office executive told Stein. Lingering knee injury and mounting frustration. Kuminga is set to miss his 5th straight game Friday against the Portland Trail Blazers due to bilateral knee tendonitis. The Warriors are taking a cautious approach, but the timing has fueled further tension around his role and future. According to ESPN's Anthony Slater, Kuminga feels like the scapegoat again amid the team's recent slump and rotation changes. After a 4-1 start, Golden State fell into a 2-5 tailspin, and head coach Steve Kerr moved Kuminga back to the bench. Kuminga's turnovers spiked and performance dipped. Kerr demoted Kuminga back to a bench role, reopening old wounds, Slater wrote. Through 9 games, Kuminga averaged 13.8 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 2.8 assists, but turnovers increased from 2.4 to 3.1 per game during his final 7 appearances before the injury. Butler pushes back on Kuminga criticism. Golden State won 3 straight immediately after Kuminga exited the lineup, intensifying league speculation. Butler rejected the idea that the Warriors improved without him. Him not being in the lineup ain't the reason that we're winning, Butler said. That ain't got nothing to do with him. Butler emphasized that the Warriors' defense, clearer roles, and sharper execution were more impactful than Kuminga's absence. Internally, the team views his potential sixth-man role as a way to feature him offensively and showcase him to suitors. Kuminga could be featured to increase trade value. Kerr's new rotation now features Moses Moody and rookie Will Richard alongside Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Butler. Once healthy, Kuminga is expected to return as a primary scoring option off the bench, giving him more touches, and Golden State more leverage. As his trade restriction lifts on January 15, the Warriors will have roughly 3 weeks to survey the market. With a team-friendly contract, enticing athletic upside and two-way flashes, Kuminga will likely be one of the most pursued players available. Whether Golden State keeps him or cashes him in, one thing appears certain: Kuminga's future may not be in San Francisco much longer. Grade the trade. Blockbuster 3-team pitch brings Anthony Davis to the Warriors. This one shakes things up. The Golden State Warriors are always on the lookout for stars. Could they make a play for two-way star big man Anthony Davis? What if the cost is Jimmy Butler? The latest star name to hit the trade market is Anthony Davis, and his name is music to the ears of Mike Dunleavy and, in particular, Joe Lacob. The Warriors have long struggled against mobile, massive rim protectors in the vein of Davis, and the organization has likewise long coveted a player of that ilk. It's why they went after DeAndre Jordan, it's why they drafted James Wiseman, and it's why they would leap into the fray for Anthony Davis. How could the Warriors trade for Davis and his $54 million salary? That's a more difficult question, and the answer is that they almost certainly have to trade one of their 3 main players: Stephen Curry, obviously not, Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler. They have had one of the greatest defensive players of all time and the greatest defensive player of his generation paired together for the last dozen years, and the result was 6 trips to the NBA Finals and 4 championships. Now, as they teeter on the edge of their window of contention, they are looking for ways to make one last run this year or next. The latest star name to hit the trade market is Anthony Davis, and his name is music to the ears of Mike Dunleavy and, in particular, Joe Lacob. The Warriors have long struggled against mobile, massive rim protectors in the vein of Davis, and the organization has likewise long coveted a player of that ilk. It's why they went after DeAndre Jordan, it's why they drafted James Wiseman, and it's why they would leap into the fray for Anthony Davis. How could the Warriors trade for Davis and his $54 million salary? That's a more difficult question, and the answer is that they almost certainly have to trade one of their 3 main players: Stephen Curry, obviously not, Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler. Fansided Zach Buckley came up with a 3-team trade to unlock this possibility, and he did so by choosing Butler as the outgoing salary. Which teams in the NBA would want to trade for Butler, an aging star in his own right with drastic strengths and weaknesses and a mercurial attitude? Why, the Sacramento Kings, of course. Buckley's trade routed Butler to the Kings, picks and players to the Mavericks, and Anthony Davis to the Warriors. Here's what the deal looks like in full. Golden State Warriors receive Anthony Davis. Sacramento Kings receive Jimmy Butler. Dallas Mavericks receive DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, Devin Carter, 2027 first-round pick, top 5 protected, via SAC, 2032 first-round pick, via GSW, 2027 second-round pick, via CHO from SAC. Grade the trade, Davis to the Warriors. This trade is one that makes some sense for the Sacramento Kings if they remain averse to a rebuild. Butler can be an adult in the room and help to instill winning habits, and with DeMar DeRozan leaving they get a better defender and connector without further harming their spacing. Is it wise? No, but no one has ever applied that label to this organization, at least not in 25 years. The Dallas Mavericks get back a solid pair of draft picks, one in the near term, one down the road, and a rehabilitation project in recent lottery pick Devin Carter. DeRozan can be waived next summer, but he and Malik Monk can both be flipped to other teams at the trade deadline or after the season. It's not an overwhelming offer for the Mavericks, but it's reasonable enough to happen. What about from the Warriors' side? Financially, this deal is a wash. Davis and Butler make exactly the same amount of money this season down to the penny. Trading for Davis likely assumed that they will extend him this summer, but it's not a requirement. On defense, the Warriors would likely leap back into the upper echelons in the league. The combination of Draymond Green and Anthony Davis would be utterly devastating. Butler is a solid defender. Davis is one of the league's half-dozen most impactful paint presences and mobile big defenders. Teams would shrivel on the vine trying to attack this group. On offense, Davis would give the Warriors a presence they haven't truly had since JaVale McGee, a rim-running vertical threat who remains one of the league's best interior finishers. Davis struggles when he is miscast as a shot creator, on a team with Green slinging passes and the likes of Stephen Curry drawing defensive attention. He is bound to end up in the paint with an advantage and the ball flying through the air to him. The asset cost is also reasonable. Jimmy Butler and a first-round pick is not all that much to pay for a player of Davis's talent, someone who, when healthy, which we will get to in a moment, is a top 15 player in the league. Butler is underrated when it comes to impacting winning, but he's somewhere outside that group. The timeline is also not as worrisome to the Warriors as to other teams in trading for the 32-year-old Davis. Butler is 36 years old, and Curry is 37 years old with a quickly closing prime. The Warriors are trying to maximize the next 2 seasons. The giant barrier to such a trade is the injury history. Anthony Davis hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. When he is on the court, he is a monster. He is off the court so much that upside begins to not matter as much. Can the Warriors trust him to be on the court? Will they believe in their medical staff over the Mavericks' much maligned group to get Davis healthy? This is the kind of trade the Warriors would be right to consider. It has the upside to be a title-deciding move. Davis, when healthy, is that good. The massive downside risk that he won't be available for the playoffs matters here, and it may well close the door on a trade. But the upside is a real chance at pushing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Grade, B+. Warriors can atone for brutal draft mistake with blockbuster LaMelo Ball trade. Taking James Wiseman second overall at the 2020 NBA Draft will go down as one of the most brutal mistakes the Golden State Warriors have made this century, particularly given future All-Star guard LaMelo Ball was there for them to take before going third to the Charlotte Hornets. Now the Warriors could have an opportunity to atone for that mistake, with the potential of a blockbuster Ball trade suddenly on the table according to a report on Thursday surrounding his future at the Hornets. Warriors could atone for draft blunder with blockbuster LaMelo Ball trade. The Hornets have been entertaining with impressive rookies Con Newpel and Ryan Cockbrenner so far this season, but injury issues to Ball and young wing Brandon Miller has relegated them to a 4-11 record and 12th in the Eastern Conference. Ball himself has struggled with his efficiency in the 9 games he has played, and both he and the Hornets are now reportedly open to parting ways according to Kelly Iko of Yahoo Sports on Thursday. Star guard LaMelo Ball has grown increasingly frustrated with the organization and is open to a trade away from the franchise, Iko reported. League sources say the front office is increasingly hesitant about cementing Ball as a long-term foundational piece, has become disillusioned with the 24-year-old and is open to moving him. Ball's playmaking and general dynamism could be incredibly beneficial to a Golden State offense that's been lackluster at times this season, having ranked 23rd on that end through the first 17 games. The 24-year-old holds career averages of 21.1 points, 6.0 rebounds, and 7.5 assists, while also shooting 36.2% from beyond the arc on over 8 attempts per game. But as interesting as Ball would be for the Warriors, his combination of injury history and contract is likely to cause hesitation for them and other prospective teams around the league. Ball has appeared in just 114 games since the start of the 2022-23 season, while he still has 3 years and $130 million left on his deal beyond this season. His $38 million deal for this season makes it incredibly difficult for Golden State to trade for him, at least not while keeping the current core of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. The Warriors do have Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski as tradable contracts/young pieces, but they're not going to give up 3 or 4 of those rotation players for Ball, as talented as he is. So while Golden State could theoretically make amends for their draft mistake by trading for Ball, don't expect them to be a serious contender despite his seeming availability.